Hello. Greetings. Emma Ansah here from Emma Ansah Unfiltered, and obviously African Diaspora News Channel, Emancipation Media. So happy to be joining you live from Ontario. And we're in the fall now, so it's a chilly, it's about 48 degrees here, and it's a little bit of a windstorm. So let's just hope that, the power doesn't cut out on me so that we can get through this wonderful topic. But while we wait for people to join, are there any Blue Jays fans, any Toronto Blue Jays fans out here, or baseball fans in general? Because the streets are alive here in Toronto because the Toronto Blue Jays have actually made it to the World Series. And the last time that the Blue Jays actually won the World Series was in 1993. So, the streets are alive and they're buzzing. And when you think about it, in today's day, you have AI. So you could do all these fun things with memes and stuff like that. And I came across this really cool meme with Tupac. So somebody resurrected Tupac and put together this beautiful video of him in Toronto, hyped about the Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, Megan Fletcher, nice seeing you. So I thought I would share that with you guys before we got started. So check this out.
This energy, man. Toronto got the city lit tonight. Blue Jays punching their ticket to the series. It's all love out here. We've been grinding, we've been waiting, and now we right here, baby. World Series bound. Thug life. Let's go, Jays.
I thought that was pretty cool. And Isaac, you're saying go Dodgers? Okay, well, I'm here in Ontario, so I'm going for the Blue Jays. Again, since I said they didn't win, the last time they won was in 1993. So I'm here for the Blue Jays. But we're going to talk about this topic here. And I feel like with Americans in general, oftentimes people think that here in Canada, there's no racism. Everybody's so nice and kind and, holds hands and sings Kumbaya and skips down the garden path. And I'm here to tell you that is so not the case. Okay. So this topic that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to set the stage a little bit. So for Canada, we celebrate Thanksgiving in October. It's the second Monday of October. And so with that, there was a street preacher, a Black man, he's a street preacher, and he was in a park in Ontario, actually in Toronto, and he was actually preaching against Thanksgiving because, as we know, or to those that don't know, Canada is stolen land. This land belongs to the Indigenous. And so a lot of people, Christians in general as well, feel like, we shouldn't be celebrating Thanksgiving because we're on stolen land and we need to acknowledge and honor the Indigenous people and their land. So that's what this street preacher was talking about. And family, one from the Caucasus Mountains descended, okay, and confronted this brother with a weapon. And I'm just going to go ahead and play what happened, and then we'll talk about it further. So just check this out.
You don't care?
No, I don't care. Get out of here.
The turtle trend.
All right, whatever.
What are you here for?
Let me get a precept. This is about the Bible here. If you don't have any questions regarding the Bible, get down the street.
Bible, man. I'm from the turtle
This is
trend.
Job 9:24.
Damn.
Job
9:24 what? You know who the you're talking to? That's my turtle trend. Okay? I'm native.
Okay.
And you're gonna come talk to me and you're gonna tell me the step name? Who the are you?
Damn,
So
bro.
let me read you
Who
something.
the are you?
Let me read something to you.
Yeah? Go ahead
Damn.
and read.
Let me read something.
Because you're gonna preach
Let me read to
and then
you.
you're gonna talk to me?
Let me read to you.
Who the are you?
First of all, you gotta calm down.
I gotta calm down, but you're one calling me a monster.
Yeah,
You're
because
here protesting
I am.
my
Can I-
clan. Yeah,
Can
but
I-
you're here
can I read
protesting
something?
my clan.
If you were here,
And then you wanna talk to me?
If
You
you-
want disrespect?
if you were
Shut
here-
your mouth.
if you were here,
Shut the up.
I'm reading about the tribe of the Native Americans.
You think this is a joke?
You're drunk.
Drunk.
I
I don't give a I'm a gangster.
Crazy, man.
Okay.
And you're here talking about naval, tribal things?
You see this? This is live.
I don't give a
You see this?
So
This is how it is.
crazy out here.
This is how it is for us when we come out here. Hey, this
For you.
reminds,
Oh, wait.
this reminds me
For
of
you?
Victoria and Dundas.
Oh, for you, right? You're a f***ing black man. You're talking
So
about
what?
people?
But we're brothers. If you are a Gadite, we are actually brothers, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they come to
but
you
you're
and
not
I
listening.
ask you.
You're
No,
not listening.
shut up.
No, I don't
I
have to.
come-
I'm trying to teach you.
You don't need to shut up?
Yo, bro. Yo, bro. Bro, bro. Cock back the hammer and bust your face. You know who you're talking to? I'm f***ing crazy. You don't know me. Now you're leaking. You should have been speaking. Now you're leaking.
Damn.
Don't ever come up here on this. Now you're all leaking. Get the. Now I took your gun.
Well, he pulled out the weapon, and again, this is what happens here. So people think that, you know, the racism here is non-existent. This is a prime example of what happened. And so we're going to talk about a few things with this. First of all, this brother was preaching against Thanksgiving and was honoring the indigenous people. This snow roach was saying that he was native. So without listening to, or at least trying to listen to what this brother was saying, he was just, you know, shouting out expletives, cussing him off, telling him to be quiet, even though he's asking him the question, not allowing him to speak. He was actually defending his people, if he in fact is native, which the jury's out on that, but let's just say for argument's sake, he is. This man was defending him, but he spent so much time cussing him off. And then, as you can see, there was a scuffle. And in the end, the brother beat the stuffings out of that man. And you could hear the brother saying, "You're leaking," which meant that he was pretty bloodied up. And I'm going to assume he used that weapon to like pistol whip him. I think so, right? And in the end, what happened was, after this brother got up and you know, had the weapon in his hand, that white man apologized to him. And do you want to hear what he said? Get this. So this white man said the reason why he confronted this brother was because somebody had attacked his brother. And he said some black guy attacked his brother earlier in the day. So what does that have to do with this man who's out here preaching the good word? But do you see how they operate? Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, I believe what he's saying, which I'm not convinced that that's what happened. But let's just say, for argument's sake, I believe what he said, that some black man attacked his brother. What does that have to do with this brother? And this is what a lot of them do. One person commits something and all black people are guilty, and they'll come after any black person they see. And again, if I'm taking his word for it, he's convicting a black man who is in the park preaching the good word. So that all in and of itself is wrong. Anyway, so he apologizes, and then he asks for his gun back. And the brother said, "I'm not giving you your gun back. I'm not giving you it back." And here's the best part. Well, I would say it's the best part, because the actual gun was not a gun with bullets. It was a BB gun. You heard it. It was a BB gun. So I'm glad that it was a BB gun, because the way that they were, you know, scuffling, it could have been a fatality for this brother. So no charges laid, nothing like that happened. But again, herein lies the example of the anti-Black racism that exists in this country. And there seems to be a rise in it. You know, I remember back in my day, because I grew up here, and I, you know, living here since the late 60s all the way through to today, there was always overt racism, but it depended on where you were. And in my case, I lived in, you know, the suburbs of Quebec, so it was pretty bad out there. But covert was really the bigger thing. Microaggressions, macroaggressions. That's what you saw a lot more. Systemic racism. You see a lot of that, but you didn't see a lot of overt so much, depending on where you were. Now we're seeing a huge uptick in that. And this is an example of it. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's because of Trump. People are influenced by Trump. And people can think what they want to think. But at the end of the day, Trump didn't tell these people in Canada to behave this way. And we're in Canada. So Trump is not our president or prime minister. So that's just excuses. They just are racist. And that's the bottom line. So also what I wanted to also say is the park where it took place is, I believe it might have been in Orchard Park, because the brother mentioned Victoria and Dundas, which is in the downtown core of Toronto. I'm just glad that nothing happened to him, because now it's really getting out of hand. And, Isaac is saying, shout out to Nigeria. No more CIA African diaspora wars trying to divide us. Make Africa great again. Hey, I'm with you on that. And Feather 999 says, those folks bring that mess everywhere they move to in the world. And that's true. It's true. And, in Toronto, it's huge. Not only Toronto, all over Ontario. It's a big thing that's happening here. And it's just out of control. In addition to this man who came from the Caucasus Mountains and acted a whole fool, we have these other men walking around with masks on, and they're rallying and they want to take back Canada, a land that doesn't even belong to them, by the way. But they're going all over Ontario and Canada, and they're always masked like the cowards that they are. They'll be all masked up and they're like, oh, we want to take Canada back. This is our land. And, they have these mass deportation signs. So there's a lot of that going on. Okay. And we're not all right with that. And what I will say to my people, that's Black people in Canada, we need to band together. We need to unify. And what I will say to any of the other folks who want to keep coming and stepping to brothers and sisters and trying to attack us, this is a prime example of what can happen to you, okay? Because this man had a weapon, but in the end, that weapon was used against him. And can we also talk about how this brother is supposed to be preaching the good word, and he went from holiness to complete street, and all of a sudden the gospel and everything departed from him, and he literally unleashed on this man? Can we talk about that? And, sometimes that's what happens when, you could be the most godly person, you can be the most, spiritual person and God-fearing person. But when somebody is stepping to you like that, okay, and pushes your buttons, the turn the cheek mentality leaves the building. And in this case, it was fight or flight. This man was fighting for his life, and every right to, right? And Neo Stray Fox, hi, Neo Stray Fox says the Holy Spirit empowered him. That's true. And the Holy Spirit also saved him, because like I said, it could have been a real weapon with bullets, and it could have accidentally fired off, and it would have been a different story. What I'm also glad about, though, is that he didn't end up getting arrested or anything like that. And that's the other thing. He's in a public park, and this man just got a beat down. Where are his people at? I know there must have been more people in the park that look like him, but once again, nobody runs to these people's defense. I'm starting to see more and more of that people aren't really running to defend the folks so much anymore, And that also may be because they don't want any of that smoke. They know better than to mess with a Black person. So again, I say to all you people marching around, in parks, training for combat, knocking each other out, and doing these stretcher exercises where you're carrying bodies, off, and all of this other stuff you're doing in forests, punching yourselves out. Here's an example of what can happen if you're stepping to Black people. We're not going to just allow you to do that. We're just not, right? So Alicia Moore says, Lord intervenes all the time. And Isaac is saying the Bible went completely out the door. That is facts. The Bible left this man. The Bible left this man. I also want to talk about some statistics. Okay, so the population of Canada is just a little over 41 million. Okay. The population of Black people in Canada is just over 1.5 million. So that's just like 4.3%. So the population isn't that massive of Black people. Yet, the folks, are you ready? The population of the folks in Canada, 25.8 million. So they really dominate this country. Yet, they want to attack us, tell us to go back to our country. It's just all the nonsense that they say to us. And they came here and they stole this country. Yet, here they are, excuse me, coming for us all the time. And again, I say, we're not going to put up with it. You may think that because you're the majority and you want to keep it that way, that you can keep coming for us. We're ready. We are ready. And I'm not trying to incite violence. I'm just saying, here's a situation where this man had to defend himself. So he did. And he had every right to, right? And Michael B says, rise, spiritual power. And Luis Vasquez says, wow, really? And Bernetta says, very sad, while preaching. Exactly. And a lot of street preachers go through this. And I know for a fact that Canada is trying to implement some bill where if you're out there quoting scriptures, you can get arrested. Okay. They're trying to eliminate that from happening. Any kind of public preaching in public spaces. They're trying to eliminate that by convicting people who are doing it. And especially if you hit the alphabet soup communities in Toronto. Ooh, don't do that. You can get arrested right there on the spot because that's one of the protected communities, okay, along with the Jewish community, which is why me, along with my partner from Black People United for Change, are fighting for an anti-Black hate bill, because there are hate crime bills in place, but there isn't one specifically for Black people like there's one specifically for the Jewish community or specifically for the LGBTQ plus community. So that's the other thing that we're fighting for. Yeah, Dolores says the mighty hand of God wrings his justice. Exactly. You know what it's like, family? It's like he became Samson. Okay, he became Samson. And that man, was he not just a bite-sized gingerbread? Like he looked like he was maybe, I don't know, 5'2" or 5'3". And he can only bring a BB gun to a fight, because could he really have won that fight? Well, clearly he didn't. So, but I guess he thought by bringing a weapon and, bullying this man, and maybe initially he didn't think that this brother knew that it was a BB gun, and he thought that he had like a strong weapon for him, So I guess these people really do feel like that's the only way that they can do it, is come with a weapon. Well, that saying, so you thought you were bringing a gun to a knife fight? I would say, so you thought you were bringing a gun to a Black man's fight? Can we get an amen for that? Yes, Patty, I said bite size. I mean, he looked he was like bite size. He's like a bite-sized ginger snow roach. And he came from the Caucasus Mountains. And he's also, like I say, I also call them avalanche avengers, and I have some haters. Trust me, I got some haters that reach out to me, and they've called me every name but a child of God, but that's okay. Hi, I'm still here, and I'll still be exposing y'all. We're not having it. Anyway, I'm going to go to the comments and read some more of what everybody's saying here. So, yes, I said bite size. And By the Waterfall, hey, what's up, says, we're fighting for an anti-lynching bill here in the United States for Black people. That would be good, because, just covering or even seeing a lot of the stories now with a lot of brothers or young black boys that are being found hung all over, and they want to rule them out as suicides. Yeah, I'm calling BS on that. I don't believe that for 1 minute. So yeah, we do need an anti-lynch bill for sure in the United States. And can we all put some clapping emojis in for reparations? We definitely need that in Canada too, for over 200 years of slavery against Black people and continued anti-Black racism. You know, it's very, very hidden, but it exists. Lynn Israel says, never think defense against the heathen deems you as unholy, when in 2 Samuel 22 it states it was TMH himself who made these mighty men to war and overthrew the wicked. Listen, you have to defend yourself. You have to defend yourself. Anybody has to defend yourself, and that goes for Black women too here in Toronto, because the sisters are getting attacked a lot as well. So we all need to be prepared to defend ourselves for sure. Louis Vasquez says Esau never liked Jacob, therefore the hate always shows. Yes. And By the Waterfall says yes, that's right. And Slim Slamma, hey, what's up, says cut the check. Yes, cut that check. And thank you, Neo Straight Fox, for the clapping emojis. Yeah, family. I mean, we're seeing this more and more and more. And it is a little bit concerning, especially with the ones who love to mask themselves, because we don't really know who they are. We can be sitting next to them on the bus. We can be walking next to them on the street. We can be driving next to them in the car. I mean, I can be walking my dog in the neighborhood. Like, we just don't know who they are, because they're cowards, by the way, because they don't want to show their face. And, you know, obviously they're cowards, right? So, you know, we got to be prepared. We have to be prepared. And this brother, I'm just going to go ahead and just give him a round of applause. That's what he gets for that. A round of applause for defending yourself, a round of applause for, you know, making it clear that we're not going to put up with that. A round of applause. Again, I am not promoting violence. I'm saying we have to defend ourselves. We have to. So Jerry 101 says Jamaicans and Haitians were part of the Black Wall Street, so the hate is unnecessary. We've been rocking together. I agree. And that's why I say our community also needs to unify, because believe it or not, family, are you ready? Believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are Black like us who will defend that man. And I'm talking about the snow roach. They'll defend him and be like, oh, you didn't have to do that. You're a man of God. You should know better. They'll find anything to say. And I'm sorry, but I am with this brother. Everybody else that's with the brother, you know, put some clapping emojis. Thank you. Bro put a lot of clapping emojis. By the Waterfall, sorry, put clapping emojis. And Slim Slamma says, well, exactly. Well, what did you think was going to happen? I guess, probably he thought that this brother was going to be afraid, and maybe he thought the brother was going to shook and jive and be like, yes, massa, I'll be quiet. I'm sorry, massa. And maybe just, take his live stream and run off. Maybe that's what he thought was going to happen, because they do feel like they are supreme, right? And they are the supreme, beings in this world. But no, rude awakening. And yeah, thank you, HY. Hi, love from Toronto. Go Blue Jays. And Angela, be specific. Which Black Wall Street story? None of you are showing up as 111-year-old survivors of said tragedy, as far as I can tell. Yeah, well, I do think that we as Black people do need to adopt the Tulsa mentality, where we separate, we build our own, we just, look, it's time for us, okay? I'm going to say it again. The Tulsa mentality. They don't want us around. They don't want us in their country. They don't want us in their spaces. It's time for us to unify, go build our own. That's what we need to keep doing. And I say it moreover. We do not need to be around those people, and we don't have to have patience. We don't have to exercise patience. We don't have to put up with their mouths and their conduct. We don't. We are brilliant, powerful, intelligent, beautiful, and God's chosen people. So, what are we doing here? So, I fully agree. Tulsa race mentality. Get rid of the I need them to help us get where we need to go. Let us build our own. Let us unify. Let us pool our resources, our strengths, and everything else together. Yes, I sound very preachy because I am so passionate about this. That's what we need to do. And Lynn Israel says, all praises. We got next. Black people will rise again. Again, we're going to continue to rise. It's about rising. Isaac George says, yes, shout out to this Black preacher for defending himself against democratic, anti-Black white supremacy. Exactly. And do you know what, family? This video garnered over 3.4 million views, and it's still going. And like I said, some Black people, you know, the ones that aren't kinfolk, they're like giving him grief, but we the ones who really understand what we're going through and what we continue to go through, will be rocking with him, and I'm rocking with him. Angela says, as for togetherness, time will tell. Because again, I don't see it even in my own family of island people. They don't rock with my mother's side. And yeah, that's the problem. There are a lot of even families, friends, coworkers, they don't want to share. It's like they have very much the everybody that comes with you can't go with you mentality. And, you know, look, it's your decision. I'm just saying, if we continue to have this division between us, who does it benefit? It doesn't benefit us. It definitely doesn't benefit us. It benefits the folks. So we need to we need to understand our power. We truly need to understand our power and our strength. And we need to really get to that place where we don't have this white savior complex. Right? So that's my feeling. Jerry Do1 says, and then that's when they started to really attack us once we were united. Well, we just got to continue to be united. When we think back to those days, that we got attacked, but didn't we also fight back? Stormy Weather says, I do not want to hear that BS. They came into our spaces. I am not dealing with turthers either. Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we really do have to find a place where we can unify and not accept this kind of behavior. And that really is the key message. We really should not accept it. We have to be in a space where we will not allow people to just be coming up to us, attacking us verbally, physically. We have to be at a place where we're defending ourselves. And this is what happened here. And again, I'm not inciting violence. I'm not suggesting that we should be out here brawling out. But if somebody comes at us, shouldn't we defend ourselves? What do you all think? Let me know. You know, Jerry says, look it up if you know so much. Okay. We've been let that go. And yeah, now. Exactly. What else is here? I want to engage with you guys, which is why I put on my glasses so I can see. Yeah, listen, that's what I have to say. I feel like it's super important that we are prepared for what's happening here. And that goes for America as well. It's happening here in Canada. I see it all the time in America. Black Americans are being attacked, are being, you know, called everything but a child of God, you know, being unalived, either by police or what have you. And it's time that we start to really rise up and unify. And it starts with unification. We as Black people have to unify. We can't be looking at each other and saying, well, you're from this island or you're from that country, so you're not Black. And no. At the end of the day, when somebody pulls us over or somebody tells us, go back to our country, or calls us the N word, all they see is a Black person. They're not seeing anything else. So that's what we have to be prepared for. So Sunborn7 says Snow Roach is crazy. I love it. Well, I mean, they're just crawling out like that, and they're just constantly in our stuff. And does anybody else agree that there's this, I don't know, this sick and twisted obsession with us? Because, I mean, everywhere we go, they're in our stuff. Either they're talking about us, they're looking at us, they're approaching us. You know, there's something going on. Anyway, family, that's my 2 cents. And, you know, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I thank you very much for tuning in to this live stream. This is my first one, and I will be back again tomorrow live. So come back and see me. But in the meantime, I also wanted to tell everybody that in the spirit of talking about unity, why don't you consider downloading the African Diaspora News Channel app if you have not? This is a platform by us, for us. And, you know, we talk about unity, we talk about working together, we talk about collaborating, we talk about all of these things all the time. But more importantly, there's so much that we want to talk about and that we want to expose, and we're censored on these platforms. With the African Diaspora News Channel app, there is no censoring. We can say whatever we want. And it's, again, by us, for us. So why not download the app? Grab it from your Google or Apple store. Think about it. It's a worthwhile investment. You know, if you buy coffee every day and you were to tally it up, you would be paying more for that daily coffee at your Starbucks or Tim Hortons. You may as well download this app where you have access to content you won't see anywhere else. So think about that. Download that app. And, you know, come see me at Emma Ansah Unfiltered on my YouTube channel. And we will continue exposing the anti-Black racists. So until then, thank you so much. Thank you, Luis Vasquez, for saying great job, sister. Thank you, By the Waterfall. Awesome job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Come back tomorrow, same time. I shall see you then. Until then, please be safe, everyone.